and I will be the person who is going to lead this e-learning course on the recognition of prior learning. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you in the name of our International Training Center. I am here with my colleague, Sophie Wien, who maybe you have been already exchanging some emails and some, let's say, some communications with. Sophie is also responsible for all the communications towards the participants. So she is behind this skills development email that you are receiving probably in the last couple of days. So I am very happy to welcome you also in our name at the course. Today is the start of a journey of a course that will last for 7 weeks. This course is part of the skills development cluster here at the International Training Center. For those who do not know a lot about the training center, we are the training arm of the International Labour Organization, and our mandate is to strengthen the capacities of ILO constituents and of all stakeholders in the labor markets as far as topics of related to the labor market are concerned. In particular, I am leading the activities on skills development and technical and vocational education and training. And with Sophie, we have a very interesting, let's say, offer of training courses throughout the various areas in which the International Labour Organization works in the skills sector. We are part of the Employment Policy and Analysis Program that covers other areas as well that are related to employment policy, informal sector, labor market statistics, and everything that is also related to youth employment and transition to formality. So this is a little bit our first moment in which we are going to be together. I am going to present you the course and the platform in the second part of our meeting today, because we wanted to open this course by inviting the person that is leading the work of the ILO on the topic of recognition of prior learning, among other things. But he is going to introduce himself and speak a little bit about the work that his team is doing globally to really advance the agenda of the ILO in this field. So we will have the first 45 minutes of this 45 minutes of this session. We will have the pleasure to have with us Ashwani Agarwal from the headquarters of the ILO in Geneva to, let's say, introduce us to the approach and to the position of the ILO regarding the recognition of prior learning. After these first 45 minutes, we are going to enter into a presentation of the course in general, of the e-learning platform, and of the training activities of this first week of the course. The only thing that I want to underline in this moment is that each and every webinar that we are going to organize is also recorded, so will be made available in our learning platform in order for you to be able to continuously look at the webinars if you want to deepen or let's say retake some of the points that were discussed during the webinars. So the webinar is recorded, and I will show you in the platform where you will be able to find the recording of this webinar. The second point that I want to stress before leaving the floor to my colleague Ashwani is that this course has 50 participants. So we are a very interesting group, in particular with some, let's say, big delegations coming from countries in which there is an interest, a growing interest, or an interest to reform the RPL system. These four big delegations that we have are from two from Asia and two from Africa. So Philippines, Cambodia, Kenya, and Liberia. And furthermore, there are other participants coming from other countries that are going to be represented in this course. So I want to stress from the very beginning the important role that also peer learning has within this course. So please share your experiences, share your success stories, also share the difficult things that are happening, the shortcomings, the challenges. The idea is that throughout this process, we are going to learn together. We're going to have several resource persons throughout our course from the ILO, from the European Training Foundation that is also organizing this course with us, and also from very different perspectives that will help our better understanding of RPL systems and implementation pathways. Without further ado, we are going to be together for 7 weeks, but I would like to give now the floor to Ashwani Agarwal, my dear colleague from the ILO headquarters, for his presentation. And I'm pretty sure this will be very interactive, so please ask questions. This is the beauty of this course. You will have the experts with you. Please do not hesitate in asking questions, in deepening some of the issues that will be discussed. This is a great opportunity for all of us to learn together, to be together. And Ashwani, without further ado, I leave you the floor.
Thank you very much, Stefano. And good day, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you very much for joining this course in such a large number, which will make this program very interesting. All of you have significant expertise, and I know some of you very well. Thanks for joining. In your respective countries, and particularly in this field of RPL. So it's not a training program, basically it's a knowledge sharing platform where we all are experts, we all have to share our experiences, knowledge with each other, and in this manner benefit and take it away some new innovative practices when we return back to our countries. Means it's not a physical one, but when we say to return back to our countries means when we return to our work. Nowadays online is seamless. We are working and learning also all the time. So apply those new practices to your work. So this presentation, basically introductory presentation, I will be making just a generic presentation to introduce the topic. At the same time, I believe as you are already an experts in this area, you will already know many of these issues. So purpose is not to train on this topic, on this webinar on this topic, what is RPL, but purpose is to start and make them, all of you connect with each other, raise some pertinent issues and initiate the discussions which will carry on throughout this program, and you will have a lot of opportunity to discuss those things. With this one, I will just make a presentation, but it will be, as mentioned, it will be more like we will continue to interact with each other during the presentation, stopping during the every time in between the slides and taking your feedback. At the same time, I will request you to please share some examples from your country or key information which you think for sharing knowledge with other participants also and with us also in the chat. So I will just basically, I'm switching on my presentation. Give me one moment, please. Sophie, can you please let me know if the presentation is visible?
Yes, it's I can see it.
Thank you very much. Just let me just make my view clearer. Just a minute. Please give me one moment. Okay, thank you very much. So basically, in this presentation, we will broadly cover the issues why recognition of skills of workers is important. Then, what is RPL in the context of your countries? What are the key challenges faced by your country? And what could be the key success factors in implementing RPL? And as I mentioned, we will keep it interactive. We will share, please be ready to share examples and experiences from your own countries. First of all, you would have seen in the opening screen, some symbols were floating around. And those were basically the abbreviations of the terms used for RPL in different countries. And first of all, you will notice that there's no standard terminology used across the world. One of the most popular word is RPL, recognition of prior learning, which is used quite widely, but not necessarily everywhere. Then this one is in Canada, it is used prior learning and assessment and recognition. APL in England, which is assessment of prior learning. Ireland uses the word assessment of prior and experiential learning. Then Germany and Spain is recognition of non-formal and informal learning. So many other countries, and then this one in Europe, in other part is validation of non-formal and informal learning. So many words are being used. So the question is that, does your country has a RPL system? I believe all of you have, but the issue is that, what is the terminology you use? Can you please type on the chat to indicate what is the term used? Please write the name of your country and type whether it is RPL or some other word term which you use in your country. Only thing that I think this, Stefan, there's a limitation for me. I cannot see the chat box myself because when I'm presenting, it doesn't allow the chat for me to see the chat also. Okay.
So we have Pakistan RPL. We have RPL also in the Philippines. We have PLAR in Barbados. So it's a little bit like in the Canada example you said. In Cambodia also they use RPL. In Kenya also they use RPL. And in Zambia they also use RPL.
Thank you very much. I think majority of the your countries use RPL. As I was saying, majority of the countries in the world, they use RPL. But in Europe, it is definitely a different terminology. Another important issue is that, let's see why the importance of RPL is growing. Because the formal training in most of the countries, particularly in the developing country or low or middle income country, formal training is only, we can say, is a tip of the iceberg. Only, for example, only 5% of young persons acquire skills through formal training in many countries. So then what happens to the remaining 95%? Do not acquire any knowledge and skills? Yes, everyone acquires. Whether they acquire in a non-formal or informal manner, they acquire it. But the challenge is that their skills are not recognized and they do not get the qualifications. So RPL is primarily, as you know, is a process. So basically then, okay, before going to the RPL definition, let me also see what could be some other benefits of RPL. It could be in terms of getting better jobs, moving out of informality, or fair migration, for promoting lifelong learning, even improving esteem. So many of these things are important, but then in each country, the motive of RPL could be a bit different. Similarly, for different people who undergo RPL, their motive could be different. And it's not necessary that these are the 6, for example, broad categories we have made, but it doesn't mean that there cannot be a motive outside these ones. There may be some different motives could be there. So maybe at this stage, may I request one of the persons, if I know that you have many from many countries are there, so I'll request only 2 participants, maybe who can raise their, they open their mic and maybe just say one main benefit, motive or objective of RPL in their country. Why? What is the most important objective for setting up RPL in their countries? Maybe I can invite myself, or you can raise your hands, or for example, if someone from Asia, let's see from someone from Asia, who would like to say? Anyone from Asia who would like to, please open your mic and you can speak directly.
Yes, Ashwani. Sorry.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yes, Ashwani. This is Adnan Mubarak from Pakistan. One of the benefit of RPL is that it's also addressed the informal sector or informal economy of the country, while the formal training are not able to address this segment of the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adnan. Very important point. For Pakistan, it says the most important objective is to serve the persons who have acquired skills in the informal economy. Now, can I request someone from Africa now? One person from Africa, or anyone from Africa who would like to say what is the most important objective?
My name is Anne, and I can say that just like Pakistan, for us, it's also about the informal sector, making their competencies visible so that they are able to access more opportunities.
Thank you, Anne. Can you please say from which country are you?
Kenya, sorry, from Kenya.
Thank you very much. So we see there's a lot of similarities across Asia as well as Africa. About maybe if someone from Philippines can say, maybe Philippines has a slightly different labor market structure. Is someone from Philippines like to say what is the most important objective? Maybe we can request Maria, Suzanne.
Hi, Ashwani. I was keeping quiet. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. RPL in the Philippines, this is through a host of many activities. Essentially, it's we are able to do RPL through our assessment and certification. So when one is certified, then the person has better chances of employment, of jobs, and for the migrants, they are able to move from their low occupations, low skilled to higher skilled occupations.
Thank you very much, Maria, for, I think that's what, yeah, in Philippines, I think, as you can see, colleagues, one of the important objectives of Philippines in promoting RPL is fair migration or better migration. A lot of migrant workers or people from the Philippines go abroad for better jobs. So for their country, it is very important objective to provide them qualifications so they get better, decent jobs abroad. Thank you very much, Maria, and thank you all other participants. Let's go to the next point. Of course, it's not only sometimes when we only say benefit in terms, we should not only say benefits in terms of individuals, but we also should record how it benefits the employers, because ultimately buying in of employers is very, very important, as well as for the government and communities. So you can see on the screen also, I have listed 4 benefits. There could be many more benefits. These are the, we have listed from the various literature review. What are the most important benefits for the employers? But there could be kind of different views as per the country and regions. Similarly, I think it's very important for you when you're working through the course, list what are the key benefits for the community and for the government. Why because unless all the participants, stakeholders participate in the planning and implementation of RPL, it will not be successful. And for their voluntary participation, is very important that they know what are their benefits, why they should participate in this one. And when you are learning, working together with each other, try to also find, is there some evidence? Has any of your country done some kind of a studies to find evidence of the benefit? We say many things. For example, Philippines said yes for better migration. So has there any study in their country which finds that yes, how it has benefited the migrant workers? For example, in other country, if the coming out of informality is one of the key objective, or getting better jobs is a better objective, or increasing income is better objective. So are there studies which records that how people have benefit after getting the RPL certification? This is a very, very important task. And like in the Tibet system, some countries have very good systems, but many countries do not record this kind of information. So then what is RPL? It's a very basic definition. As we know that definitions always vary from country to country, and sometimes within a country also. So it is not to say it's an ILO definition. The ILO definition, no, it's not an ILO definition. It is a common basic definition, and there will be a variations in the definition from country to country. So what I'm saying is that RPL is a process to assess and certify the competencies of a person. The most important part is regardless of how, when, and where the learning has occurred. Means whether it is from formal, non-formal, or informal learning, and from which location, whether it's through a training center, school, or in an enterprise. And then important issue is that assessment is done against prescribed standards for a partial or full qualification. When I'm saying partial means part, it could be modular qualification or it could be full qualifications. So let us see how I will show a generic RPL process. Again, with the clear, I want to clearly mention that it's a generic. We have looked and observed RPL processes from various countries. For the training purpose, for a training program purpose, we try to say, okay, this is a generic process, but definitely each country has their own characteristics. So typically, one of the first processes is always building awareness about RPL and making our information easily accessible. Many times you will find many people in your country may not even know what is RPL, and even if they know what is the meaning of RPL, they may not know if they want to get their skills or competencies certified, what is the process, whom to contact, what is the requirement for that one. So first step is that making it popularized and making the information easily accessible. And then once, if, for example, a candidate, when I'm saying a potential candidate is interested about getting a qualification through RPL process, naturally the person, a facilitator can guide. Now, I'm just talking at general processes. I'm not saying how it will be done, because you have a 6 weeks program or 5 weeks program here, where you will go each and every step. There will be various modules will be there. And then once a candidate knows the process, documentations requires, they make the complete documentation, everything, submits the application along with the documentation. And then at his center, the assessor, whoever is authorized assessor, assesses those documentation, interviews the candidate where they can ask more questions, and then assessors guide candidate in case assessor finds the candidate seems to be suitable for, and all the documentations are ready for how to prepare for the final assessment. And the last step is, last may not be the last, but last most important step is that then the candidates are assessed against the learning outcomes for the selected qualification. Here, again, I will say large variations takes place between countries. For example, in a country like Mauritius or France, there is no trade test at the end of the as part of the assessment. They, in France, for example, they can only decide based on the documentation only itself, and can assessors can certify whether the person is qualified or not. So there is no further, even interview is not necessary there also. But in Mauritius, they make it interview as a compulsory. So a panel sits there with the candidates to appear for an interview, but there is no trade test as such for the candidate. But in some other countries, for example, South Africa, India, a trade test is compulsory, because they say that person has to appear in finally in some kind of a trade test, which could be in only the practical exam trade test, or it could also be including a examination of knowledge. A written examination could be possible. Again, each country has their own processes. And finally, the candidate get the, once they are qualified, they pass the assessment, they get a national qualification. Again, here I'm saying, you see this new arrow came, so that which was to indicate that there are different country have bypass process also. For example, if a country only based on the documentation finds a person is suitable or not suitable, so after the assessment of the documentation or the portfolio, person can get directly the portfolio certification and the qualification. On the right hand side also, you'll see even the previous slides, there were some arrows were going on. Here the explanation is there. Ideally, from each step, whenever a candidate, each process, when a candidate is assessed for different stages, feedback should be given to the candidate. If a candidate is asked to prepare better, or from that stage itself is returned, the feedback needs to be given to the candidate so that the candidate prepares better. And also it is about organizing skills upgrading training in case a candidate is not able to meet the requirements for the qualification. So let us see what are the challenges for implementing RPL. Maybe let me start with first, maybe this time, we know that, okay, if there are, I think from the Liberia also, some people are there. So is in case from someone from Liberia like to say, what is the most pressing, biggest challenge in implementing RPL in their country? Only give me one, only one, please. Who would like to speak from Liberia?
Yes, hello.
Yes, please, Patrick.
Okay, so my name is Patrick and I'm from Liberia. So to your question, one of the biggest challenges could be the lack of national recognized qualification standard that will be recognized nationally. We do not have that structural qualification that is nationally accepted. So vocational schools provide training based on the competency and the quality of their personal teachers, not a national curriculum. So that could be the biggest challenge.
Yeah, thank you very much. Patrick will come back to that point also, and during the session, this will also be discussed. Now, maybe I'll request someone from Cambodia also. If someone from Cambodia can say, like to say, what is the biggest challenge in implementing RPL in their country? Anyone from Cambodia, please?
Yes, I'm from Cambodia, yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, my challenge for my institution for RPL or assessment, we difficulty to collect evidence from candidate. Yeah, the first challenge for me. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sir, can you say one more time, just to be, we are getting, but it was voice was not fully clear.
Collecting evidence from the, collecting evidence.
Okay,
This is the
yes,
challenge,
it's a
collecting
very
evidence.
important point that in many countries, collecting evidence, because if they have to prepare, if the system says prepare a portfolio, then for the candidate becomes a challenge how to collect evidence for the portfolio and develop a portfolio. Sometimes these portfolios could be very complex. I think these things will be discussed in some other session, because I'm sure there will be an important session on the assessment part also. So we'll come to the other countries also. Be ready, because I want everyone should speak during this session, have their important views. So please, if you want to say something voluntarily, please, you can raise your hand or you can unmute your mic and say. Thank you. So let us see some of the common challenges.
Ashwani, we have Soka.
Yeah.
Yang,
okay, please.
Who wanted to come in?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Soka from Cambodia. I would like to add on with the question that you raised up with our challenging in our country. For RPL, we have many challenging in our country, in Cambodia. Yeah, the first is advertising or promoting or spread information to collaboration or enterprise related to the hospitality and tourism in Cambodia. It's a bit hard with cooperation with them. So that's right. We difficult to collect all candidates that can apply with RPL. And some hotel also can approve for candidate to join with RPL. The second thing is collecting evidence because of our technology still limited. We collect evidence from our candidate a bit difficult, and some can cooperate well and some still pushing. And another point is the venue for assessment when the final of training of our RPL, and then we still looking for the main resource that can support us for access. Yeah, thank you. I have only three. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sokha, for very good points you have mentioned. Yes, awareness raising, will come back to these points, what you have mentioned also. Thank you very much. And I'm very thankful to Stefano also, because as I'm concentrating on the presentation, sometimes I'm not able to see the complete list of participants. Please feel free to inform. Thank you, and invite them.
Adnan has the raised hand. Adnan, okay. Please.
Yes, Ashwani, in Pakistan, we are facing the challenge is the acceptance of the certificate from the employer. Employer is totally unable to understand how a candidate within a 3 to 5 hour assessment will become equal to a certified trainee. So the RPL certificate acceptance is one of the main issue in Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very important point. Let's see what I have recorded. And based on your feedback, maybe I will in future, maybe I make changes to my presentation also. First of all, what we found is that the expectation from RPL are very high, very, very high, in the sense that it has raises so much expectation and hype. I will not say hype, but that it can benefit in a very big manner. But uptake of RPL for various reasons is not that much. And if you see many of the countries, compared to the potential number of candidates who could be requiring RPL, who undergo RPL process, actual numbers of RPL certification is very low. So, so this is one important challenge. Another is confusing language and differing definitions of RPL. We have seen different terminology used. Sometimes even I found in our organization, sometimes initially people said, what is meaning of prayer? What is that one? What is this? Because many of the people are not, and then if you see, these other terms also used. Some our countries are saying recognition, some say validation, some says assessment. And then people argue, experts argue, why validation should be used, why recognition should be used, and they will try to academically differ that what is why validation is more important than recognition or why assessment is better. So as a practitioner, to me personally, it doesn't make too much difference. We understand what does it mean. And you are all practitioners, you understand very well. So then let's not get confused why different people are using and emphasizing. Listen to them. Some good points will come, but as a practitioner, we know what is this one. Now, this point I think Adnan mentioned, very, very important. Parity with formal training. That and it's not all RPL. Let's go back. Let's consider our own situations. When we started our journey, say from early childhood to school, okay, we may not remember at that stage, but our parents, or when we want our children to get admission to a school, what we want. Actually, if you see, all schools provide the same qualification at the end of the school year. Everyone gets the same certificate in terms of completing the senior secondary school. If everyone completes, but still everyone has a choice in our cities, which we know which schools are better. We want them to get admission into a particular school only, not any school. And when we want to go to university, we all know, even though all university degrees are same basically, are all equivalent, but still we want to go to the certain universities, not every university. Because there is a perception, there's in the mind, yes, the quality of education from a particular school or university is better than compared to others. Similarly, when it comes to, I'm just giving a different, which is not a perfect example for this one, but if you see similarly, a perception is always there. When we learn in a university, school or TVET institute, we learn through trained teachers, we go through a proper curricula, and when we learn through 3 years and we get a motor mechanic certificate, how can that be equivalent if someone has acquired in a workshop and then appear in an assessment? And in many countries, assessment is also not very rigorous, only based on certain principles. So then a mindset comes that maybe the quality is not so good. We'll discuss, we are at this stage slide, I'm just discussing the challenges. When we come to the key success factor, we will consider those, what could be the remedies to overcome those points also. So I think this was one of my question was that, is RPL valued by employers and other institutions? I think Pakistan has already answered no. It is not recognized, is not valued. It may not be, is not valued as same as others one. I'm sure I'll not go to in other countries. Maybe this may be the situation, but let's ask a different institution like TESDA. What is our view of TESDA? How in their country is there also a challenge, or have they overcome this challenge? Anyone from TESDA, please? Yes, please. Maria, please go ahead.
Okay. Well, we've been implementing assessment and certification for a long time already. But for this RPL, one challenge, and it has been mentioned already, is first, well, not all employers recognize also the certificates. So there are other industry-based certification that they recognize, or their own, the employer's own assessment is. So that's one that we're continuously working on. But for overseas employment, it is really very much appreciated and very much recognized for those people, our migrant workers who go abroad, our certificates are recognized abroad in other countries. Another challenge would be the limited limited assessors, assessment centers, and at this time, because our assessment is mainly and primarily, doing practical exercises, practical demonstration of competencies. And at this time of pandemic, it's a major challenge for us. We cannot conduct assessment because face-to-face conduct of activities is suspended, is not allowed due to danger and threat of the COVID-19. So that's one major challenge that we have had since last year. We cannot conduct, if last year we were certifying about 1.5 million persons, we only ended up at the end of 2020, we only were able to assess less than 500,000 because of this pandemic. So that's one major. We want to, and this is what we're working out also with our ILO project, Skills for Productivity, that we will be able to come up with technology-based assessment that can be done in digital mode. We are already doing portfolio assessment, but the portfolio assessment that we have is assessing those with work experience. So it's in terms of work experience. But for those who have completed and finished only the training and they don't have experience yet, they have to undergo a face-to-face assessment and demonstrate their competencies. So we cannot assess them right now with this pandemic. So
Thank you very much, Maria, for raising very important issues. I think another challenge which you have raised also is in the context of this pandemic, when lockdown is there, how to carry on the RPL assessment. I'm sure we'll come to this more in details. Thank you again to all the participants for raising very important issues. I will also request Sophie.
Ashwani, you have a question from Kyon Chum from Cambodia, asking the difference between higher education RPL and TVET RPL.
Okay, we'll come to that one. Maybe we'll take after, just let me finish this one.
Okay, great.
I'll take, please, in fact, I'm forgetting, Stefano, please remind me at the end of the presentation. In the meantime, Sophie or Stefano, if you can take also some pictures also so that we can put in the ILO, our records. Thank you. So I'll go finally. I'm also mindful of the time. I'm taking it more time. So again, it's a time consuming and expensive because it is individualized. Also, rigorous assessment is required. Complex methodologies are recommended, which are normally not used in the TVET, normal TVET system. For example, portfolio, and we are all discussing this issue. So then extensive guidance is required to candidate, which is not normally required so much in the TVET, in a formal training program. And then, as we know, many of the persons have low literacy and numeracy skills. And that also makes it much more challenging because these qualifications require many of the TVET qualifications require the persons should be able to express, communicate, both written and verbal communication in form also. So how to deal with those issues also? Then issue comes native language versus language for assessment. This is very important for big countries where multiple languages exist in a country. So this also remains a challenge. So let's come to some of the key success factors or building blocks for a successful RPL system, which we will elaborate also later on. First of all is never compromise with the quality of assessment. As we were discussing, a brand is built not in 1 year, not in 1 month, not in 1 year. It takes years together to build a brand. Why we know why now we know some top university in the world, even in our same countries, there will be some university. Why? They are perceived to be better because they have maintained a high quality standards over the years. We know that the teaching quality, the learning quality of their institutions are so high, and when they complete the graduation, they get good jobs. So it's not overnight. So if RPL, there's no quality compromisation is there. If the quality, those only get the certificate who have really the knowledge and skills, then over a period of time, a better brand will be built. Then people will not be averse to accepting a persons who have acquired qualification through RPL process. But again, we see here that I'll come back to that. We never say that RPL certification should be different than from a normal TVET certification because the qualification is same. And very effective monitoring and evaluation system is required. This is a core. Because if we have effective monitoring and evaluation system, we can always find what are the challenges in the system. We can keep on getting the feedback and we can take corrective measures. And we can also use the information from the evaluation system to promote better image and awareness about the RPL. Because if we know that there are candidates who are after doing RPL certification are much better settled in the life, they are getting career promotions, progression, better respect and recognition. And if we advertise them as role models, then more people will join also. And if we demonstrate how employers are also getting benefit, more employers will also join. Involve all stakeholders. I think this is also one of the reasons that sometimes it's the only government institution who initiate and complete the process. It doesn't mean that their process is not good or what they have done alone is not good, but it is about when we involve all the stakeholders, particularly employers, workers, and other stakeholders, when they are in the part of the process, then the ownership of process will be there. Then they will not say, no, this process is not good, RPL is not good, because then they know this is a rigorous process, this is an important process. They will understand the benefit. So right from the initial stage, never start the process of your own. Involve always the employers and workers organizations together and other stakeholders, whoever is the relevant stakeholder in all the processes of RPL. This one is also very important, matching between the occupational standards and the qualification standard or standards for the qualification. The qualification standard word can be used differently also. What it means is that what are the standards used for a qualification. Today I will not be able to go too much on details on this one because it requires some at least 10-15 minutes of discussion. But if you have more questions, we can take it up that one. But this is a very, very fundamental issue for making RPL successful. Very core issue.
Ashwani, if you want to go back to the previous slide, I think this point is very important. I will grant you 5 more minutes if you want to go, because I think, and I mean, it was already mentioned by some of our participants, and I think if you can spend a couple of minutes there, I think it would be beneficial as setting the scene for the whole course.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, what happens, let me go in a very informal manner of discussing this issue. I think most of us who are sitting here are from the TVET systems, and we all know very well. When we develop the TVET qualification to our best of knowledge, we try to involve the labor market participants, employers, and others in the process, try to assess their needs and make the qualification as close to as possible to the labor market needs. But at the same time, we know that many of the qualifications, there's a mismatch between the labor market requirement and the qualification, whether it's the technology has changed or the process has changed, for whatever reason. We are not going to that reasons. In a TVET qualification, it works till the certification level. There's no problem comes because the candidates or trainees or students learn whatever is given in the curricula. They learn, they appear in the assessment as per the curricula and they pass. Then the problem can come because the employer can say, yes, you do not have the skills which I need because maybe your quality of training was not good or your standards were not meeting my standard, but at least they will get the qualification because the assessment is as per the curricula. Now here, a very fundamental difference, understand, standard is same because RPL is not a separate qualification. For example, if you are a person is appearing for motor mechanic, the standard will be same whether a person is acquiring through a TVET institute or through RPL. Standard is same, but the person will not be able to pass. Why? The reason is that where the training is taking place here, in this case of RPL, training is not taking place in a TVET institute by the trainer. Person is coming from the labor market. So the person is coming from the labor market. So there, the learning is taking place in the labor market. So if there is a mismatch between the labor market standards, requirements, and qualification, the person will be learning something else and your standards will be different. So person may not be able to pass. Now there are many, many factors on that one. It's not only mismatch. Now, labor market is also organized very differently. For big companies, they have a different processes. So the learning takes place differently there. And the range of skills which they learn is different. Now, in the informal economy, what may happen, again, I'm taking example of motor mechanic because most of you must be having cars, you go for your cars for servicing or something. If you go to a big garage, means a dealer, suppose you have a Toyota car. If you go to a Toyota authorized workshop, dealers, they will have all the facility in-house, most likely, big ones, to repair the engine, car, as well as perform some other activities like, for example, welding. They may not still have turning if something is required or some other machining is required. But if you go to a small, in the informal economy, you know what happens, you may give a car to the person, but all the things are not performed by that same person. For example, anything on the reconditioning of the engine, they will send that one to separately some other garage, a separate mechanic who is called machinist or turner. For welding, they will send it to for welder separately. So what happens, if a person has acquired knowledge and skills while working with a motor vehicle mechanic, they will not know how to do welding. They may not know how to do turning. But if you see it, typically in any country, I can say a curricula of motor mechanic, they will always have in the first year or second year, basic welding, basic turning. Reason is not, it's not out of, it's not mismatch. It's that reason is that when we prepare curricula, we prepare first year more broad-based. We include also, many countries include multi-skilling aspect, means skills from a multiple occupation also, so that because at that time we do not know where this person is going to end up, and also to make broad-based education and training so that when changes are taking place in the labor market, the person can easily acquire new skills based on that foundation. So the curricular standards will say the person must be assessed how to weld also, how to do some simple turning, and maybe other allied. Now, if a person is come from for the RPL, so that person will not be knowing all those things. So how you overcome this challenge? So then it could be the case of a modular qualification or partial qualification or some other method as is allowed in your system. But the point is that very important that otherwise this mismatch will come. On left hand side, the person comes with a knowledge and skills, but the qualification standard says something. So in this case, sometimes happens, and we have experience also, a highly competent motor mechanic with whom you can leave your car with confidence, even your very expensive car with confidence, and you know this mechanic will make it perfect. But then if that person will come for acquiring a motor mechanic qualification, that person will definitely fail. I'm telling you, most 99%, if you do the proper rigorous one, that person will fail. Whereas the person who is working as a helper with the same mechanic, who has come from a TVET institute and has a motor vehicle mechanic qualification, who cannot even perform very good job, who cannot repair the car, but then the person has a motor vehicle mechanic qualification. So what happens? This master will spread the word that this RPL system is useless, because RPL system cannot assess and give the full qualification to them, whereas those who has those qualifications cannot perform in the labor market. So there are many issues are there. I'm just touching some of the issues on this one, but it requires much more in-depth discussion because I touched on multiple issues, not only just one issue. Okay, again, this one is very important. As you know, you mentioned very clearly from Cambodia, the lady said evidence, and also gentleman said getting evidence is difficult, portfolio building is difficult, processes are difficult, it's expensive. So I think there's a need. We have to always develop new, innovative, efficient which can be done in less time, but without compromising on the quality, at a lesser cost, without compromising the quality, can be done. And fortunately, we can say that now with the Corona pandemic, as Maria mentioned, that it caused many new challenges, but it has also given some new ways of working. So now everyone is more savvy, more knowledgeable about how to use the educational technology in various manners. And the advancements in the education technology, particularly smartphones, are making things much more easier, which we never thought earlier could be done. Now you can build your portfolio much more easily, because if you have a smartphone, you can develop your portfolio, you can record what you are doing much more easily, simple manner, less cost effective. But I'm sure this discussion will take place in depth during the next coming weeks in your case. I think this is the core of this one. Promoting awareness of RPL and its benefits is very, very important. And it starts from the first process of collecting evidence about the benefits. And that's where the weakest link is there. Most countries do not have this kind of information. Even when we, for our reports, we want to ask people, no, very few people are able to say, yes, we have this report where the benefits of RPL are there. So I will request, if any one of you or your country has done some assessment of outcome of RPL or impact of RPL, please share those reports and information with us. We'll be very grateful. We will propagate that information to other parts of the world also. Skills upgradation is very, very important. As I mentioned, there will always be, it's not because the person doesn't know from who's coming for RPL, because every workshop, every enterprise is different from where they are coming, the way they learn the things. There will always be a requirement to some kind of a program for upgrading their skills or knowledge about the modern tools, practices, about occupational safety and standards, or other core skills. I think something is always very important to build as part of the RPL system. Yes, many people will say, and rightly say, that actually skills upgrade training is not an part of the integral process of RPL, because RPL is typically an assessment process only. But what I'm saying is that if you want your meet the objective of RPL, overall objective of RPL, then assessment has to be linked with the training. And in case your organization has a separate wing department on training and separate department of assessment, I think both of them has to work very closely. Sustainable equitable funding is very important. Who basically should bear the cost of assessment? And if some additional training is required, who should bear and who should provide? Yes, strengthening the capacity of institutions and RPL professionals in doing, because RPL is a slightly different, involves different process of assessment, which is not a standard TVET, which is done in the TVET Institute. So they need a capacity building on that one also. And of course, as we were discussing, the use of digital technology and eRPL is increasing. So we need to use these new methods and incorporate in our system. I'm not here advocating an 100% eRPL means everything electronically. No, that is not a recommendation. It may be possible in certain cases, but we need to say that when I showed the initial chart, process chart of the RPL, how we can use technology in various processes of that chart to make it much more effective and efficient. And there are many examples from your own countries. We always keep on collecting information from your own countries also. And I know that many of your country have very innovative practices. Please, during the course, share those examples with each other. I'll also share this. This was a book written by me a few years ago. yeah, some new better practices have come, but still I will say this is a very simple small booklet is there, and it still has many good examples from countries. But it doesn't mean that new better examples have not come. Yes, they have come also, but still it has fundamentally very good information and is written in a very easy step-by-step approach, and you can read in one go also, and it has very good examples also. I think the link is given, but we can also send you separate link. I'm sure this must be part of the resource material also, this book. And we have other publications also. It doesn't mean that we don't have the other publications also. With this one, I will say thank you that if we think innovatively, yes, RPL is possible. Like this small Papu elephant can use baby shampoo, shampoo and do the shower and use. So we can always think about it. Nothing is impossible in this world. With this one, I will say thank you. And if there are some important question in this time scope, I leave it to the Stefano. I will be willing to respond to that one. Stefano, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ashwani. It was a pleasure, and I think I mean you covered a lot of ground in this introductory presentation to the course. I think covering all the important aspects, and I think this is very important to start. As I said, there was a question. I mean, I want to give you this question, but also then maybe broaden a little bit the discussion. Mr. Chum is asking about the differences between higher education RPL and TVET RPL. I mean, for a fact, actually, RPL is covers both. And in some countries, actually, higher education has been at the forefront, and then in other cases, it was the TVET subsector which organizes itself first. Can you maybe give us some hint? I mean, from your perspective, I mean, looking at the global development of RPL from Geneva.
What I will request first of all, I think who is the Mr. Coin Chung? Can he also speak exactly? Give a little bit more background, what exactly he has in mind when he's asking with a very important question on what is the difference. But I think if he can explain, it will be much more clearer to me and everyone else also.
Okay, we are asking him to unmute and go ahead.
Mr. Chung, can you please again, can you open your mic and
mic, yeah.
Is it here or not? No.
He is here, but he's just saying thanks for your presentation. But can you please?
Okay, in that case, let me just try to respond to what I understood from him.
Okay.
Okay, first is basic. If you go over the definition, what is RPL? And RPL is basically a process of assessing competencies of a person, which is in terms of knowledge, skills, attributes against the learning outcomes of a qualification and awarding the relevant qualification. In that sense, whether the RPL is taking place at a school level, at a TVET level, or higher education level, RPL is RPL. So there is no difference as such in the RPL per se. Only the qualification level will be different. What could be, I can judge, what I'm guessing from his question is that perhaps in his mind is maybe what is the objective? The objective could be different also. As we mentioned, the object we mentioned, in one of the slides I mentioned there could be 6 broad objectives, it could be more than 6 objectives also. So typically for a TVET, at the TVET qualification level, the typical objective is to is in terms of labor market outcome. Whether it's moving from the informal to formal economy, but still the purpose is that they get a better, decent job opportunities. Whether it's for migration, then the purpose is that they get a better job outside in other part of the world. It is always linked to that one. But of course, certain people have a slightly, for example, they still want a higher esteem also. I'll give an example from Bangladesh, where a very well established self-employed person who was running a very good business, he said he only wants to say that I earning very good money, but I want to, he displayed his certificate on his workshop, so that people who come, he feel proud that he's a qualified. So person could be different, but for higher education RPL, perhaps the person is asking is normally the purpose could be in terms of getting the credits or getting admission to a higher level course. That could be one of the criteria. Of course, that can also be linked to the job market also. But this is my I'm understanding from the question. But if you like to explain slightly more, if it has a different query in mind, I'll be very glad to answer. Does this helps? Does it answers your question, Mr. Quinn?
No, I mean, no other point, but okay, we will see if Mr. Chum is going to come back. Other questions? Otherwise, we can free Ashwani, because we have to actually remember, and I want to thank in particular Ashwani for being with us today, because in Geneva today it is holiday. So actually he was very kind to be with us for the start of the course, and really we appreciate it a lot. Great question from Cambodia. What are the best examples of effective approaches to convince employers to cooperate with RPL? Okay, it depends on the employers to employers requirement. For example, I give an example. Some employers are motivated because it becomes an essential required for their businesses, success of their businesses. For example, I'll give an example from South Africa. In the food grain silo industry, they are exporting their food products to Europe, and then the importers put a condition that to ensure the quality, they have to follow certain standards, and one of the standards is that they must be employing the qualified persons to do this kind of a processing of the food grains, because they want this one. Similarly, sometimes a company wants to have ISO certification or some other certification that may require their person must be qualified. So then it becomes a very important motive for them. Otherwise, they cannot do their business also, or they can get those kind of a quality certification. But then we also have to demonstrate that why having a more qualified persons leads to better motivation of them, these people at the job, and also at performance on the job. Maybe that's why we have to collect the evidence also. We have to collect evidence that what the difference it makes when a qualified person or unqualified person works in a company. And word over, the survey of employers says that, of course, not that on RPL. See, RPL, again, we have to say in different contexts, RPL is just an assessment process. So it is basic as, but at the same time, every time when a person is undergoing assessment, I can say 100% of the cases, every time person has to prepare learn some new knowledge and skills. It's not that just go and appear in the assessment and you get a certificate. It is nearly impossible, because as you were discussing, there's some requirements are different. So when you have to appear for something, you always work harder to learn new knowledge and skills and behavioral attributes. So ultimately, all those things are going to benefit in your job also. The only thing is that we have to show certain surveys results or the evidence that which shows that employers benefit with it. Thank you very much. I think that's, I mean, adding further to what Ashwani was saying, having a clear idea of what qualifications are needed in the labor market is going to support then employers' participation, because as in the case of the food grain that was done by Ashwani, I mean, from the training system perspective, knowing which are the occupations in which actually certifying, qualifying, giving qualifications to the people is important for the employers, is a very important due diligence to be done before launching or implementing new RPL processes. I would take the last question maybe from Adnan. Any example of equivalency of RPL with general education?
Adnan, please, can you just slightly explain this question first?
Yes, Ashwani, in Pakistan, we are trying to make some sort of equivalency with the general education. And they are asking for us that, do you have any example of any country that RPL have some sort of bridge between general education and the RPL? So we are trying to do this experience, but I am trying to search, is there any example of any success story of any country?
Okay, thank you. I think a very important point you have mentioned. Let's go back to the principles of what is RPL. I think RPL is just a process to acquire a qualification. RPL is not a process to design a new qualification and new standards. I think what we have to be very clear on this one. So let's take again example of say motor mechanic, say in your country. What is the duration of a typical motor mechanic course in the TVET system in your country, Pakistan? Okay, it may be 2 years or 3 years, let's for example, and they must be getting certain qualification or certificate at the end of the program. Now, question is that whether that certificate is equivalent to the education, how that certificate is considered as part of the education system. Is it integrated? TVET qualifications are integral of the education system as a whole or not? Or is it standalone, which without any equivalency with the education and training system? For example, certain countries, the problem is that TVET system certifications are not integrated or aligned with the education and training system. So they remain as a standalone. So RPL is not creating new qualification. That is a challenge of the TVET system of equivalency between the TVET qualification and the general education qualification. So that has to be resolved at that level, at the education training system level. RPL is only providing allowing the candidates to get certain qualifications which are already existing in the country. But if those qualifications are not aligned with the education system, that RPL system is not to solve the problem. That is for the education training system to solve that problem, to establish equivalency between TVET qualification and general education qualification. I hope it clarifies.
Thank you very much, Ashwani. Yes, I think in particular what is important is the concept of bridge that Adnan was mentioning. So what is important in the design and implementation of RPL reforms or systems is in any case this bridge to the other qualifications. So the possibility that actually the qualifications that are given through RPL are also linked with the ones of other subsectors. But this is not always related to RPL. This is related to the qualification system structure in the country. I think, Ashwani, we still have 15 minutes. I will present the platform and a little bit the environment in which our colleagues are going to be in the course for the upcoming weeks. We want to thank you a lot for your presentation, for your kindness, for your really for the examples you have given. I think it's really sets the scene for our course. And so I would like to thank you very much and give you back to your family and to your holiday so that you can actually at least enjoy a little bit of our of this day. The publication that Ashwani was referring to will be found in the e-learning platform in this very first module, because it is really one of the cornerstone of the ILO approach into this topic.
Thank you very much, Stefano. I think then I will take leave, and thank you very much all the participants. It is always my pleasure. And I will also try to come back during these programs, maybe one or more times, to interact with you during this one. Thank you again. I have, so as Stefano mentioned, I have also copied the link. You can also download this publication from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm now sharing my screen to start presenting the platform. So now we will have a short presentation of the platform that you will see. And please be very, let's say, be very, please pay attention to this presentation, as we are going to go through the platform, and you will be able to see how the course is structured. So this is the platform of our course. You will see here you have several tabs. The most important one is, of course, the first tab, that is the course. Here you will see all the 7 modules of our course. Our course is 7 weeks, 7 modules, so 1 module per week. Every Monday at noon Turing time, we will open the module. So that's why you see already module 2, module 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, but they are not open. So they are still in gray and not in the white color. But of course, once we will start module 2, module 1 will be always open. So you will always be able to see what's happened there and what are the activities. So this is the course tab. In the people tab, you will see what are the people that are participating in our course, and some other names are for the ITC ILO colleagues that are supporting the implementation of the course. In the forum tab, you will see there are 2 forums. One is for announcements. So here, we as course organizer, we are sending you some relevant information on the topic, on the course. I will show you then the forum. And here you can contact us in case you have problems in accessing learning activities or other features of the course. So here you will be able to open a thread in the course. Just for you to see how these 2 forums look like. So these are the announcements. So here we are going to be able to look and post announcements for you. And here is the forum through which you can contact us. I will now show you how you can add a topic. It's very simple. Here you have to click on the add a new discussion topic. Here you will be able to write, I don't know, problem with unit 1. Dear, wait. So here we can have, I don't know, dear Stefano, I cannot open the first activity. Right. Okay, and then you post to forum, you can click. And so this, once again, if we are here, we are going to be able to see how it goes. Okay. Going back, so here we have a short presentation of the course, and here in the tab certification, you are going to find some useful information on the certification. And here you have a link at our website that gives you more information on the digital credentials that the ITC ILO is awarding to the participants who have finished the course. But now let's go back to the main tab, that is the one on the course. For every module, you can just click on this blue arrow and you will see what are the different activities that you have to do all along the module. This week, the topic is Introduction and Key Concepts. We will have some activities that you will have to do as first steps. There is a short survey, so you can click, now I will show you. So here, if you click, you can find this survey. You can type the answers to the survey. This service for us is very important because we not only collect information about you, what you are doing in the frame of RPL, but we can also give you some slots on, let's say, participating to share your experiences. As I said at the very beginning of this webinar, what is very important is that we are all experts, we are sharing, we are learning from each other. So we really want also you, through the survey, to give us some of your expertise and your experience that you want to share. Then we have an icebreaker here. So the idea, we have planned this icebreaker for you. So here you can simply record yourself. You will have 1 minute to present, actually introduce yourself, your full name, some professional information of what you're doing, and very importantly, what are the expectations that you have for this course. Clicking here, you can record your answer and then submit it. This will create here in the Meet Your Colleagues part, let's say, I see already Sambo has done it. So you will find all of us here that are going to be able to record a 1 minute version. And so we will be able to know each other as if we were together physically for this course. Very important activity of the first week is also this pre-course knowledge assessment test. So this is an activity that is compulsory for you to have the certificate. And so it's a very simple quiz with 10 questions. And at the end of the entire course, you will do once again the same quiz so that we can measure the knowledge that you have gained. And here you will have the 4 activities of this first week. The first one is the webinar that we are in, actually. The second is a webinar that we will have on Friday. Sorry, I'm checking. I don't want to. Yes, it's on Friday. And you will have a webinar so that we are going to even go deep dive a little bit on the topic of RPL as a general presentation. The third activity that you will be requested to do is a stock taking exercise. So in this very first week, we would like you to present your own system. So kindly enter the forum discussion of your country. Let's say, for instance, if I am from Cambodia, I would click here and just read these very first instructions. So here you are going to present your RPL system or scheme. You can elaborate on different aspects: legal and regulatory framework, governance and stakeholders involved, financing of the system, qualifications, target groups, methods of recognition, quality assurance system, etc., etc. We can also, of course, get into the pages in the forum of the other countries. So if you are not from Cambodia, you're not going to write here, but you can write questions, type questions to better understand how RPL is working in other countries. So here, if you are from, let's say, please, if you are from Barbados, Cambodia, Kenya, Liberia, Mauritius, Pakistan, Philippines, Rwanda, and Zambia, you can post, you can add to the information that others have posted on your country, or you can get into the page of other countries and ask for more information. And then the fourth activity for this first week is a knowledge check. So on Friday, we will open this quiz, and after having gone through the various materials, after having assisted to the webinars, after having taken stock of what is the situation of RPL in your country, you will have a simple quiz. The sum this quiz is the assignment for this first week. For those who want to achieve the certificate of achievement at the end of the course, you will need to have the pass grade for each of the 7 in-module assignments that you will have to do, 1 per each of the 7 modules. And at the end, you will be asked to write a final assignment, a capstone project that is related to your professional experience. So the 7 grades of the 7 in-module assignment plus the grade of the final assignment will give us the final grade. And if you do everything with more than the pass grade, you will get your certificate of achievement. The certificate of participation, on the other side, is given to all people who have completed more than 80% of the training activities. How are we going to see what is my percentage? Here you have the completion status, which tells you live what is the number of the activities that you have completed. Okay, so here, for instance, in my case, I have already completed 4 out of 8 activities. Here you will see under each of the activity, you will see the requirement that is needed in order to actually see the activity as completed here in the learning management system. A very important document that I would encourage you to read at the beginning of this learning pathway is the learner's guide that you will find here in the sidebar of our training platform. When you get into the learner's guide that was prepared by my colleague Sophie, that I thank you for this job, we have 2 sections. The first is the section on the training program. So what are the overview of the course, the objectives and outcomes, the e-learning process, and the course team. And then in the second section, you will have more information on the e-learning platform itself, on the eCampus, on how to update your profile, how to go back to the course main page, some information on the forums, so some rules that we have for the forum, and also some minimum hardware and software requirements in order to be able to access all the learning activities. We are also going to add here, and you will find it later in the day here in the sidebar, we are going to have a webinar schedule for the rest of the weeks so that you can already save the dates in your calendar. So right now we will have a second webinar today, this week. We will have a second webinar on Friday from 9:30 to 10:30 Central European Summer Time. So you can already save the date for this webinar. So this is a little bit what I wanted to share on the platform. If you have any question now, it's okay. Otherwise, you can write to in the forums so that you can actually have it. For you to so you will see already in the calendar when you have the blue. Sorry, I'm sharing my screen here. In the calendar, here you can already find the relevant information. For instance, if the date is already circled in blue, on Friday you will see that the knowledge check opens and that we have the webinar on the apology of RPL. And also the same here on Sunday, you have all the other, let's say, activities that you have here need to be undertaken. So this was a little bit about our training platform. So if you have issues, you can contact us here and in the forum, or otherwise also, this is the privileged kind of tools that we have to communicate with ourselves. Are there any questions, any particular information that you would like to have? I try to go quite slow so that we can actually see the whole features of the platform.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is Mr. Boland. I'm speaking from Zwedru Grand Juliet County, the Zedu Multilateral High School, Liberia, one of the participants to this recognition of prior learning through the UNAIDO program. Yeah, I was told, according to information, that we should have started by 11 a.m. in Liberia time. So are you aware of the rest of the other police coming on board by 11?
When we send the information about the times, they are always in Central Europe time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In any case, you will be able to access the recording of this very webinar in the platform, so that if you have missed some part of the webinar, you will be able, in any case, to access it.
Okay.
And you will also have the presentation always in the same day or the day after. All the presentation, it will also made available to the participants in the e-learning platform.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So it means then that we are anticipating our colleagues from Morovia to join us, because we, according to the number of Tibet schools registered, we have the Kipama High School, we have the Sino Multilateral, VWR, Totman High School, we have the Zedu Multilateral, Vonchema, and then the MBTC. So we should be a little up to 10 persons in number participating from Liberia.
Yes, you will be able to access, all these delegation will be able to access to the course and to the webinars.
Hello.
Okay.
Stefano?
Yes, please.
My name is Milares Sharif, also from Liberia. I just want to tell the principal, just check the participant listing. Every one of us are following.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Yes, so hello.
Hello, please.
Yes, okay, Patrick from Liberia again. So 2 of the participants from Liberia asked that their email that was used to register was hacked. They would like to receive information from another mail they just share with me to share with you. Is that going to be possible?
Of course, it's going to be possible. In any case, if you want to have, I'm writing here in the chat box, if you want to communicate with the course organizer, kindly send an email to that email address, skillsdevelopment@itcilo.org, so that we will be able to cope with your requests.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, this is Kesali Guluma calling from Liberia, Vonjama Multilateral. I want to say thank you this morning for the presentation. And one of the things I would like to recommend is if it is possible that you be sharing this soft copy to us prior to our meeting time, and also the instructions that you provided in order for us to go through the exercises that you made mention, so that because everyone is not too open to the computer system, like you were giving some instructions, some of those things were not well taken. So maybe if those things can be shared when it comes to the directions that we can follow to get the soft copy of what we are doing prior to our meeting.
The presentations are going to be shared after the webinars, or if we have them in advance, they are going to be shared in the platform. About all the exercises and activities of the course itself, we are not sharing. They are already in the platform. So as I said, every Monday you can click, for instance, just to have a clearer understanding, Keseli, for you. So every Monday here, you will have the module. and you will see what are the activities that you have to do. Okay.
Wow.
These are there. So there is no soft copy or other copy. There is nothing that is sent to you. The activities are already here in the platform, like in this case, except for the knowledge check, which opens on Friday, so that you on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you have the possibility of completing the knowledge check. If the assignment of the week is in another form, you will find there the instructions already from the Monday on, the instructions for on the assignment to be done. So already this is already there, no? So you can be able to access it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you want to access to some of the documents that are already there, you have a small library of course readings that are here, and you will be able to access and download them. So for instance, the publication that Ashwani has referred to, so you can get here a course reading. In the module number 1, you will actually have a link in order to read and or to download. Already you click and the document is downloaded. So tomorrow, no, there is no tomorrow. There is no session tomorrow. Actually, we will have a webinar. Mainly the webinars will be 1 per week. Okay, so this is the only moment in which we are all together in the webinar. Otherwise, you will have to do it on your own, whenever you want, wherever you want, the different activities that are there. And you will be able to interact with others. For instance, in the forum, you can have a look at what others have said about how the system is structured in their country, ask questions, etc. The second session for this week, the first week is a little bit extraordinary week. We will have a 1-hour session at 9:30 on Friday, 9:30 Europe time. Okay, so please check the equivalence with your own time. So Pan Hang, there is no tomorrow, there is no session tomorrow. We will have usually 1 per week. This week is a little bit extraordinary and we will have 2. Do we have other questions?
Yes, this is Anne calling from Kenya. I just wanted to find out the weekly webinars, are they all scheduled for Monday at the same time so that we block out the time, or you'll keep sharing the information?
It depends on the availability of the speaker. As said, you are going to be able to find them in the calendar so that actually you can already reserve your save the date. In any case, this afternoon, I'm also going to write a course announcement so that you will receive the days also at by email. You will receive the list of the webinar that are already confirmed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, are there any other questions?
Stefano?
Maria, please.
Yeah, I think I missed the part where you might have mentioned how we can have access to that e-learning platform. In the emails, it was mentioned that you'll send us another email for that. So
yes,
will that happen? Yeah.
Sophie, please.
Yes, Stefano, and I have sent this other email this morning, so you should have received it.
Okay, we'll check.
Okay, if it's not in your inbox, maybe it is in your spams, but I have no problem. I can also send it again to you.
I'll check, and then if I don't get it still, I'll email you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
In the email that we have sent, you should find all the instructions, including your username and password, to get into the platform. Okay, I see that there are no other questions. So we are going to speak in the platform, to exchange in the platform, and then we will meet once again on Friday. Now, have a nice day, rest of the day, and we see you on Friday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefano.
Bye-bye.